Alright, so this is episode 3 of Spy X Family. A little bit of a recap. We were introduced to our third main character, Yor, who, according to the subtitles, is the Thorn Princess. She was trained from a young age to become an assassin, but because of that, she seems to be quite gullible in things that is not of her expertise. So, anything outside of assassination. As you could see that she just ended up believing Loid's story about his patients being in a psychotic episode up to the point where they're just trying to freaking murder him, which is just fantastic. But the both of them had similar goals. You know, Loid needed a wife in order to get Anya into or at least to go into the interview, and Yor needed a boyfriend so then people would stop sussing her out, because apparently single women who are like in their mid-20s or something, if they're single and they're over 20, they're very sus, and a lot of single women are getting arrested, including the members of WISE, which is what Loid is a part of. We also heard a little bit of Yuri, who is Yor's brother, and I was wondering if we will get to see him. I hope so eventually, and I do wonder if he knows about Yor's job. It kind of sounds like he doesn't, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe he does. But there was the shopkeeper who had mentioned him and Yor's relationship too. So again, I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see when we see him. I do have my full-length reaction up on Patreon, which you guys can check out in the description down below. Other than that, let us get started. Whew! Alright, so that was episode 3 of Spy X Family. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys. For me, I thought that this was a pretty nice platform building episode for them as a family. Consider that they literally just formed this family in this episode. You know, the whole marriage thing happened in the previous episode, but here we're getting some family bonding time. And of course, with this whole show, it's going to be more of it started off as a fake family, but they're going to end up becoming a real one, with Loid and Yor eventually falling in love and seeing Anya as their own daughter, and again becoming a real family and all that. So I really like that. I like you know, I'll be honest, with the personality of Anya and Yor, you can almost play it off as like they are like daughter like mother. Daughter like mother like daughter, somewhere around that phrase. So I do find it funny. And then and Loid is like the more sensible one, since he's a spy, so he has more experience in the social area, while again Yor is more of an expert in assassination. And when it comes to her line of assassination, you don't really need all that much social skill, because she's just gonna come in and freaking stab you in the neck. So she doesn't need any social skill for that. And Anya is just a kid who's a telepath or an esper, and she's been an orphan for a while, so she hasn't really had any real social skill or any real family values. I don't know, any family values that she can attach herself to. But anyways, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the show for a bit so I can check out some of the world building that they're doing right now for this. So what I want to see, in an era in which the nations of the world were waging a fierce war of information just out of sight, two countries were at odds with each other. So Westalis and Ostania, we're in Ostania right now, and Loid came from Westalis. He's working for WISE. Alright. Ostania in the east was secretly plotting to start a war, so that's why Loid is coming over. Westalis in the west, wanted to put a stop to those plans in order to keep an eye on the actions of a leading figure in Ostania's government. Yeah, they've set the Operation Strix. God, somebody is cooking balublak outside and it smells so freaking good. If you guys don't know what balublak is, in English it's called shaken beef, and is exactly that. You got beef and you shake it. If we're taking literal terms. We saw that Yor is moving in with Loid. Loid notices that she doesn't really have a lot of luggage. And Yor overall seems to be very, what is it? Enamored with the idea of a family. Consider that is what we saw her in the previous episode when, you know, when she was sitting alone and she was watching everybody in that house, in her coworker's house with like their family and all that, and she and the whole pressure of her having to get married or get a boyfriend, especially at her age. And she's just kind of like, I've never experienced this, perhaps I'll never be able to experience this. So now that she actually is able to be in a family setting and have a daughter, even if it's not hers, you know, to be able to have someone who calls her mom or mama, she seems to be very enamored by that. Okay, so what Loid had said previously, I had a friend of mine who's a judge make it so we got married a year ago. Okay, so Frankie forged it since he said that he didn't want the school to be sus that I can't stop saying somebody stop me. To be suspicious that they just got married and perhaps like, oh, did you just find a wife in order to get past this interview? Because again, we don't accept broken families. That kind of sucks though, like, what if your wife did die? I mean, I would assume though, I don't know, like, either way, would they still look into the information anyways of your dead wife? But like, what if your wife is dead and like you're not remarried? Still a broken family? Okay, we can figure out why we lived separately and what to tell your brother later. For the whole, we were married for a year and now we're only moving in. Okay. As they hide their true identities from each other. You would only assume that they will eventually find each other's identity. Or at least with Loid and Yor. I don't know about Anya. Anya just wants to be a good girl and help her parents in their chores, but Loid still doesn't really. I mean, it's almost like a good cop, bad cop situation with Yor, who's just like, yeah, you're doing great, you're doing a great job. And Loid is just like, all you did was tip over a bucket of water. You got in the way of the baking, and then after that, all you did was just snap in the peanuts. But hey, I guess with Loid, Anya won't be able to get in over her head, you know, get a little bit of an ego and all that, so, you know, he puts her in her place. God, I love the fact that they still didn't show her younger brother. It's just, oh yeah, so that's your younger brother. I get to see it, but the audience don't. Albeit, if you saw the ending, he was literally in there, so. Oh, she's got 2 cats, is that what it is? And then these are all her weapons. I have my work weapons and poison enough to kill enough in that room. So, I'm starting to notice that when Anya is using her power, I would assume she can sorta use it. Like, she's not reading their mind all the time. I'm just assuming, you know, but sometimes it slips anyways, unless it is that sort of power where it just kind of comes in and go, which can explain the reason why she doesn't like crowded plays, because there's just so many thoughts, and especially when they were at that rally, the whole patriotism and all that shit, so she was getting a lot of like negative energy into her mind space. But I was saying it's because like you see the little like, what is it, the little like effects that goes around her head. It's very nice. I like it. Okay, so this is their first time doing the interview. So were the parents on their social standing and how cultured they are. Papa orders me to stay home, so I have to watch TV all alone. She says that with such a smile. It's like, oh my god. Why did you choose Eden, and how do you plan to pass this exam? She has to pass? So how do people usually pass? So she's like, pass? Like passing? Like dying? How do people pass away because of the exam, perhaps because of cardiac arrest or excessive bleeding. Could you describe your parenting methods? Strike first to be victorious. Child abuse, that's right. And then he says this like twice in this episode. I've completed countless missions, so why now do I find myself losing heart? Although he kind of figured that out a little bit later on when they were having dinner, where he's just like, oh, I can figure why. It's because instead of having to do things on my own or just usually working with other spies, now he has to focus, he has to work with civilians, which is just fantastic. But after that failure of an interview, they decided to have some family time, which is honestly what Loid should have done in the beginning. Like, you guys weren't really a full family yet, and that was your goals is for people to see that you are a family. And so it still makes me laugh. It's like, alright, I'm gonna go to an opera. I'm still trying to figure out what Yor was thinking during this time. Anya was just fast asleep, and then Yor is just over here with like strain in her eyes, and she's sweating and shit. She's just like, oh my god. What, is this man a prime target just standing there under a spotlight? And then they go into the art exhibit, which I've been to like one art exhibit, which had this whole exhibition of naked women riding on giant roosters. It was I don't know, it sure was an exhibit. That was for sure. Like every other things, I was just kind of like, oh, whatever. But this specific part of the art exhibit of just and it was like numerous amount of photos of naked women riding on a giant rooster. So you can say they were on a big cock, but it was just so funny. I was just like, who thought of this? Well, I mean, it wrote the name there, but I couldn't remember it, but it was fantastic. That's all I'm gonna say. If I had money to buy those art, I would've. I love how Yor is just making it very obvious what her actual occupation is. To us anyways, but to other people, you know, they might just be like, what's going on? But they might not be able to put two and two together unless an accusation comes. But like, just the way that she's just like staring and just in a trance looking at a guillotine. What an expression, dude. What an expression. Okay, so this is when they go to the the Nationalist Party believes that there is a road to peace with the West, alright? Patriotism is also important within Eden College, so patriotism. Okay, you moron. Kill all the bastards in the West, continuing to treat Westalis as the enemy will continue to do us no good, so the people yelling is in the crowd, I assume. Kill all the bastards. While the Nationalist Party is just like, yo dog, maybe we shouldn't. I'll need to make sure she's knowledgeable of politics and history as well. Okay. Piss off, traitor. Those bastards killed my family. Give me money, give me money, give me money. Get lost with all the pleasantry. First I lost my job, then my home. Kill all the shitheads in the West. The East did nothing wrong. Go back to your Western masters. You pig, you stupid body. Your feet smell too. Oh my god, you were smelling his feet? God damn. Man's wearing shoes right now. How can you smell his feet? His feet is really that stinky? Which means I need to list every possible questions the interviewer can ask, then have these two memorize the perfect answer to go with them. If all fails, make sure I can back them up. Okay, so he originally was gonna go for the plan of, I'm gonna get them to memorize everything, so then I might as well just, you know, that's the foolproof plan. And I can back them up if it's a question that they might be stumbling over or some shit. But eventually, after, like, their family outing and a little bit of violence, of course, you know, a little bit of violence really brings families together. He kind of goes back, I would assume he kind of goes back on that idea because, you know, Anya gave him a good answer for the first question that he did after their second interview. But it seems like Yor realized he was stressing out, so she's like, yo dog, why don't we just go outside and take a look at the city? Which gave us a really nice overview of the city and just a nice little almost top down. That reminds me, what did she say? People look like bits of trash from up here. Oh my god, those 3D models! They're terrifying! I'm scared. I wander over here when I'm exhausted from work. So yeah, that's what she sort of saw from Loid, thinking about how the work I do helps everyone in the city out, encourages me to work even harder. I really like, other than the scary 3D models, I like the structure and I like the verticality of this town, and when you see Yor jump over and she's just running down the hill, I do like the verticality of this town, this city. It's very nice. So yeah, she got Loid to come over here, get him to relax a little bit. I like this place better than Crowded Place. And Loid's looking like he's having a nice time too. And then we see this suspicious man walking all jolly like before robbing an old lady. But it seems like he did take notice of the kids again, because he, with his whole flashback of, like, if I remember from my flashback, from his flashback, he's sort of like a child with war, a child with war, a child of war, sort of like what the Ostanian people were yelling at the Nationalist Party, who were saying, like, yo, the West killed my children, or I've lost my job, I've lost my home, and they're blaming it all on the West. So, like, the West are just a bunch of fucking dickheads. Let's kill them. And also with the interactions of, like, kids having fun, I would assume. He's like, wow, you know, at least these kids are having a normal life for the most part. But look at this cat, dude. What the heck? This cat is just smiling away. That old lady should have been more careful. Damn, dude. Damn, dude. She didn't even run down, actually. She fucking parkour herself down there. It's so fast. Goddamn, dude. I like that he was sort of just chilling there for a bit. He's like, oh, that lady should have been more careful. So it's sort of like the average thoughts of most people, because people don't really want to get themselves involved in things that they feel like they can put themselves in danger to. It's the bystander effect. But he's just sort of like, oh, she should have been more careful. But then he noticed that Yor decided, I'm gonna jump down. I'm gonna freaking find this man. So that's when he's decided, okay, fine. Now that Yor is involved into this, I have to get myself involved. I wonder if there's a million Dauk? I don't know. Dauses? Lying around somewhere. And so we see that when she's using her power and she has too much, she starts feeling even more sick and she gets nosebleed. Man, that old crone was loaded. I'm trying to figure out how she can specifically figure out whose thoughts are who. Cause like she sees that and like she kind of looks down, but like, I don't know. I guess I would assume she probably sort of remembers. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Damn, dude, I gotta say, he jumped from that height and he just went in and like smashed this dude. It's like, maybe he also needs to go to the hospital after this. A filthy swine like you deserves nothing more than the foulest meal. Damn, dude. Meanwhile, Anya's looking over at the bridge like, just like one of my animes. So the grandma was thanking Yor at first, and then Yor's like, oh no, it was my husband who caught him for you. And so now Loid is getting thanked, and so he's thinking back to whoever this man is, maybe his boss, maybe his tutor, master. Hero who casts no shadow, the great deeds you and your fellow agents do shall never see the light of day. So he's getting thanked for his current deed. I guess receiving thanks every once in a while wouldn't hurt, which is nice, you know. He's so used to the whole my stuff will never be able to see the light of day. And then we had a nice moment between Loid and Yor, just the both of them blushing, and Anya's over here like, oh, daddy and mommy are flirting. And then we saw Loid giving compliments to Anya, which is sort of like the first in this episode specifically, consider that all the other time Anya was trying to be like, I'm a good girl, right? I helped out. And Loid was just like, no, you didn't help out at all. But now he's just sort of like, okay, we did find a thief, I suppose, because you were hungry. So he called her a good girl. That was very nice. And then Loid got exactly what he wanted, which was an old grandma saying, "Wow, what a lovely family you are." And for him, it's just kind of like, "Oh, at least 1% of my preparation is complete." The three of them, it's really nice that they all have, like, you know, the same mug, just different. It's all color coded. Red for your, because of course. And he has like a dark green for him because he's always wearing a dark green suit. So that's very nice. Very nice. It's very nice. That's my that's the end of not my analysis of the episode, but I enjoyed it. It was a very nice episode. Again, continue with the whole family bond. Well, it's not continuing. It's starting with the family bonding. And it's, I would assume it will only get nicer from here. You know, they're probably going to get into some troubles, and that will help them strengthen their family bond. And like I said, a little bit of violence here and there really gets the family together. I already mentioned this in the previous episode, but the jazzy soundtrack just really makes me want to watch Baccano again. I haven't watched that animated in years, and I would just love to be able to rewatch it again if I could ever find the source for it. I don't think it's on any anime website or any official anime website anyways. And it also, and again, with the whole West versus the East, it just reminds me, and the whole spy, you know, the spy war essentially reminds me of Princess Principal, and it makes me want to rewatch that anime too, and also reminds me I should probably watch the movie. But there's something about animated movies that just makes me go, I don't want to watch it. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. Unless someone forced me, I'm just, again, it gives me a lot of that vibes, and those two animes are animes that I really enjoy, and I really like the concept of. But, if I have anything else to say, I will write it in the description down below. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I will see you guys when I see you guys.